Guys, this is Alyson, and we are going to study and discuss some ideas about phonetics and phonology, stress and intonation in the English as a foreign language EFL classes. Okay. First of all, we are going to focus on this word. Okay, stress. Oh, but relax, it's not that kind of stress we're thinking about. Okay, I know you work a lot, but it's not this kind of stress. Okay, when we talk about stress, we wish to express the idea of the strong syllable. Okay, where you speak in a word, where you speak the stressed syllable. Okay. What is the relation between stress and phonetics phonology? Exactly this. Okay, if you have a word, you have a two-syllable words or three-syllable words. Actually, you have some points of this word that you have stressed syllables. Okay, strong and weak syllables. So stress is this. Okay, the strong. The stress is the strong syllable in a word when you pronounce it, like terrible, terrible. We have this mark, okay, represents the first stress, the stronger one, and here we have secondary stress. Okay, so we have three syllables here: terrible. Okay, this is the primary stress. Okay, we call the stronger stress of major. This is the major stress. Ta. We have here a weak syllable, no stress, and you have here the secondary stress. Okay, minor. Okay, major stress and minor stress. Let's see another examples. Sentence. Here we have a two-syllable word. Sentence. Okay, the first one is the stress. Sen. Okay. Prefix. Okay, the first one is stressed too. Homophone. Okay, here we have two different kinds of stress too. The first one is the major, okay, because it's very stressed, and the second one, phone, is stressed too, but less than the first one. And in the middle we have a weak syllable. Okay, so we call stressed, and unstressed. Okay, this first stressed syllable is called major because the sound is very strong, and the second one is minor stress. Major stress, minor stress, and unstressed. So in yellow you have the stressed, primary stress syllable or major stress syllables. Okay, let's compare only these two sentences. Okay, here we can notice that it's not a question of vowels. Okay, because here we have a sequence of E's, E, and here we have a sequence of O. Okay, it's not the question of sentence. I think the question is E is stronger than I, for example. O is stronger than A. Okay, but it's not this question because we have here sentence, two-syllable words, and the first A is stressed. And the second one is not stressed, is unstressed. Okay, the same situation happens with common. Okay, common, the first O or the first syllable, the major, is stressed, and the second one is unstressed. Okay, we have two O's but with different pronunciations. Okay, the difference are those same vowels. Okay, but different pronunciations. So we can conclude that it's not a question of vowels. We have to take care about pronunciations, and we are teaching our students too. because sometimes you have some first one language influences, or sometimes our mother tongue, in my case Portuguese, could influence the prosody, or where you really put the stress in the words. Okay, we know that the language usually don't correspond. Okay, in the case of Brazilian Portuguese and English, for example. Sentence, it's dangerous. Sometimes you pronounce like sentence. It's wrong. Common, if you put the stress syllable on the second one. Come on. Come on reminds me another kind of word when we call someone. Okay, but it's not come on. It's a joke. Camel. Camel, we have 2 syllable words. Okay, we have to consider that the syllable separations, syllable divisions is completely different from Portuguese and English. Okay, in Portuguese usually we consider the question of vowels. Okay, because usually we have a sequence of consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, and the vowel helps us to divide the syllable. Okay, the sound of the word helps us to divide the syllable. But in English it's completely different. Okay, we have to consider the epistemology of the word. Okay, morphology is very important when we are going to separate a syllable here, like here. Okay, let's go. The first vowel is louder than second. We can hear it more easily than the second. The first vowel is longer than the second. Okay, so we have to consider these 2 observations. When you have a stressed syllable, okay, here's the mark of stress. A stressed syllable, when we are pronouncing this word or this stressed syllable, we have two sounds like longer and loud, longer and loud, right? Okay, longer and loud. In opposite way, the unstressed syllable is short. Okay, fast, you pronounce very fast and soft. Okay, so it's a clue to pronounce some words. Stress involves making vowels longer and louder, in the example now. Okay, sometimes we have to exaggerate. When teaching students about stress in English, it's a good idea to exaggerate both of these properties. This because in many other languages, stress involves simply making vowels louder or saying them at a higher pitch. Okay? Before we explain about this, let's understand what is pitch. Okay? Pitch, it's a kind of tone that you use your voice. Okay, you can use a high pitch like here, or in the left side, or low pitch. Okay, it's like the tone of the voice. For example, we have this situation. The client comes at a pharmacy or a drugstore and starts a dialogue with the the girl. Okay, how are you? I'm fine. So we can have this sequence of sounds. Okay, in green high pitch, in red low pitch. Okay, how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, so we have different pitches here. Okay, sometimes these pitches can give us some idea of our intention when we want to communicate in some utterances. Okay, some languages like Chinese use this process of pitch to communicate, like the difference, for example, a statement and a question. When they make a question or a statement, the pitch is very useful for them. Okay, let's go. So I have here high pitches. How are you? I'm fine. Okay, Here we have a different situation, okay, caused by the pitch. We discussed something about the stressed syllables. We have to remember that stressed syllables, major stress, usually should be pronounced as longer and louder. But sometimes in the syllabus we have some weak sounds. We call them unstressed syllables. Okay? And when we have unstressed syllables, usually the vowel is pronounced as schwa. Okay, schwa, it's a very soft sound in English. Okay, usually it is used for weak sounds or unstressed sounds. So schwa, it's totally unstressed, man. Okay, it sounds like right. Let's consider the table here. Let's check some stress in the words. We have first the group A, and here we have the stressed syllable, and here we have the unstressed syllable. Okay, and we are going to check the presence of schwa sound on unstressed syllables. Okay, atlas, college, tulip, propose, lettuce, propose, okay, lettuce, distant, illness, cousin, ribbon, and sarcas. Okay, the first syllable is stressed and the second are unstressed. So in this unstressed syllable you usually pronounce the vowel as a schwa. Okay, let's consider now the group B. The group B have a different position of stress syllable. We have in red the stressed syllable. Okay, so the first part of the word is unstressed, so we are going to use the schwa to represent the sound of this unstressed syllable. Advice, escape, disease, contain, support, canoe, review, divide, tonight, subtract. Okay, it's very simple. It's very simple. Remember, stressed syllable should be pronounced as long and louder. Unstressed syllables should be pronounced as in a schwa way. Okay. The group B, in comparison with the group A, has vowels in unstressed syllable, and these vowels are much shorter and quieter. Usually they are classified as reduced sounds. Okay, short sounds. Like ignore, machine, deny, suggest. Okay, you say this unstressed faster than the stressed syllable. Okay, and softer and weaker than the second stressed syllable, the stronger. Okay, ignore, machine, machine, tonight, suggest, right? In general, unstressed vowels in English are pronounced as schwa in the most frequently occurring vowel sound. For example, we have a sentence here that sometimes we can conclude that it's almost a compound. A cup of tea. Okay, literally we have this situation: a cup of tea. Okay, a cup of tea. It's interesting that in some places of London, a cup of tea, it's an expression used when you want to say that a boy or a girl, a woman or a man, you are not interested in that person. Okay, it's like in Brazil: não faz meu tipo, ele não faz meu tipo, ela não faz meu tipo. Okay, like in Brazil, it's not my cup of tea. she is not my cup of tea, or he is not my cup of tea, right? Good. Let's understand now where's the origin of the schwa sound. Okay, we have two different theories. The sound schwa is so important, it has a name schwa. The sound schwa is so important, it has a name schwa. Okay, sorry my prosody. Some people wonder where the name comes from. It's originally from Hebrew, meaning not or absence of vowel. Okay, it makes sense. In another way, another theory explained that the schwa comes from it. It is also said to be derived from two German words, like, I don't know how to pronounce in German, schwarzes Assembrech. Okay, okay, it's like here, it's the part of the name schwa. Okay, according to Godoy, Gautam, Marcelin, 2006. If you have difficulty hearing the schwa in the two-syllable words above, consider the following pairs of words. Okay, here we have two similar words but different. Okay, and two symbols representing them. Are you able to pronounce them? Canada, Canadian. Okay, here we have the stress model to lead us, to help us. Okay, can, longer and loud. Okay, unstressed, short and soft. Canada, Canadian, right? Canada and Canadian are different words, and they follow different patterns of pronunciation. Canada and Canadian, sorry. This red is not important, the important is here. Compare the pronunciation of the first vowel in each word. Okay, Canada, Canada, Canadian. Okay, the stress is here. Here we have two unstressed syllables. Okay, this sounds like when we have stressed, we have the normal sound or normal phonetic representation, like a, ca, Canada. And when we have an unstressed syllable, we have like the use of schwa, weak sound. K, Canadian, right? So here we have the representations Canada and Canadian. Now consider the second syllable in these pairs of words. When the vowel in the second syllable is unstressed, it is pronounced as a, schwa. But when the vowel is stressed, as in Canadian, it is pronounced as a. Okay, simple. Other word pairs exhibit the same alternation, like drama, dramatic. Okay, the first syllable is stressed in this case, longer and loud. The second one we use schwa to represent the weak sound. Dra, weak sound, unstressed. Dra, schwa. Ma, strong sound. Matic. Matic is just one syllable. Okay. Oh, sorry. We have two syllables, 3 syllables. Dra. The second one is ma, and the third one is tic. Dramatic. Okay. Photograph. Photography. Okay. We have different patterns of stressed. The first one, we have the stressed syllable pho. The second one is unstressed. We use the schwa to represent the weak sound. And the second example, we have the first syllable using the being represented by the schwa, pho, weak sound, unstressed syllable. In the second one, like a stressed syllable, being represented by the normal sound, photography, right? You have the photographies here, the pictures. We have the similar examples to Democrat. Democrat. Okay, the stressed syllable, we have a secondary stress here. So we have a major and a minor stress here. In some words we have two stresses, but usually one is stronger than the second one, okay, than the other. In the second example, democracy is different. The second syllable is stressed, okay. The first one is unstressed. Democracy. Democrat or Democrats and democracy, okay, when you have the opportunity to vote, for example. ESL students have to be taught explicitly to reduce unstressed vowels to schwa. Okay, there are some cultures as Spanish. Spanish people in their language usually have a different pattern of stress. Okay, it's not so common to them to use unstressed syllables, so it's difficult to them to use these in this way, okay, to act in this way when they are learning English, for example. Okay, ESL students have to be taught explicitly to reduce unstressed vowels to schwa. One reason for this is that their native language may not have reduced vowels in unstressed syllables. For example, Spanish people have a difficult time in learning reduced time to schwa because in Spanish unstressed vowels are not shortened and reduced. Okay, in this case the unstressed syllables in Spanish are not reduced. Okay, so it's complicated to them to follow this pattern in English. Attention! Be careful that you are actually pronouncing the vowels in unstressed syllables as schwa. If you try to say the word from our list in isolation, there is a danger that you pronounce them in a manner different from the way they are normally pronounced in sentences. Okay, it's complicated sometimes because when you have only a lexeme, a separated word, you sometimes pronounce in one way, but when this word is in a sentence, for example, sometimes it acts in a different pronunciation or a different pronunciation. Okay, so let's ask some help to the advice help here. 5 cents, the doctor is in. Let's go. Like advice, okay, advice, sorry, this stresses the second syllable, advice, vice in red, and we have the same word here into a sentence. It acts different. He gave me some good advice. Okay, we have the same stress, but in this case the unstressed syllable is usually represented by schwa in a sentence. When you have a isolated word, we use the normal sound, okay? But when you have a sentence, usually we make this adaptation, okay? We change the a for advice alone, or he gave me some good advice, right? It's extremely important for both you and your students recognize that pronouncing unstressed vowels as schwa is not lazy. So we have to understand that schwa, it's not a lazy English, a lazy pronunciation, a bad English or a bad pronunciation. No, it's not a case of this, okay? Everyone uses schwa. It's a kind of accommodation of the language, okay? All native speakers of standard English, including the Queen of England, the Prime Minister of Canada, or the President of US, use schwa. Okay, okay. The Prime Minister of the Canada say a word. Obama thinking, okay, about the spies over Brazil, or the Queen of England. A cup of tea, please. A cup of tea. The speech of our the speech of your students will be more natural and easier for others to understand if they can master the use of schwa. Okay, the students have to understand that when we say a word isolating, it has some pronunciation, but when we say it into a sentence, the pronunciation should be adapt. Okay, we have to make some accommodations, usually using schwa on unstressed syllables of these words. Okay, if they use this clue, they will be very happy in their speech. Thus, our generalization about unstressed syllables reducing to schwa does not apply to syllables receiving minor stress. Okay, minor stress, it's not the same thing of unstressed. Okay, it's a secondary stress. So in this case, we don't use schwa to substitute the sound. Keep calm and be schwa. So let's understand better what's the relation between major and minor stress. Okay, major stress. Okay, louder sound in a syllable, and minor, a loud sound in a syllable too, in another syllable, but less than the major. Okay, we have the major, the unstressed, okay, no stress, and minor, okay, secondary stress. Let's check list A's and B now. Accident. Okay, the first one will have a stressed syllable, ac, and the second and the third are unstressed. Okay. Calendar, the first one is stressed, the second and third are unstressed. Elephant, the first is stressed, same situation. Instrument, the first is stressed, and the other ones are not stressed, they are unstressed. So you can substitute the vowel sound for schwas. Okay, it's very common. Oxygen, the same situation. Vegetable. On list B, we have addition. Okay, here we have a different case. We have the major, okay, in superior part of the syllable we have a mark. Okay, it's like an asterisk. Okay, the major pronunciation, the major stress, and the minor stress. Okay, so we have two stressed syllables here, and here we have an unstressed one. So the unstressed will represent with schwa, the stress and unstressed to be pronounced stronger than this one. Addition. Diploma. Completion, longer and loud. Proportion. Opinion. Conclusion. Okay, notice that all the unstressed syllables are spelled as schwa. The only difference between the list A and list B is that in the first list the stressed syllable is the first, and in the last list the stressed one is the second. Okay, so we have two different kinds of stress: a primary, a major, and a secondary, minor. Okay, both syllables are stressed, but the first receives a stronger stress than the second. Okay, here we have a joke: a Brazilian shopping in New York, for example. Is the primary accent, the first syllable. Ath. The second one is the minor stress. Athlete. Major stress, minor stress. Major, minor representations. Okay. contact, contact. The major stress, the secondary stress, the minor stress. Boycott. We have this word in Portuguese too. Boycott, boycott, boycott. Okay, here we have a stressed syllable, by. Caught. Okay, the pattern of pronunciation. Major stress, minor stress. Now let's pronounce the 3 syllables words above. Acrobat, celebrate, telephone. Okay, so we have here the major stresses on the first syllable and the minor stressed on the last 1 syllables of these words. Now let's pronounce the 3. Okay. Placement of word stress. Is there any rule for the placement of stress? Okay, how can a student know where to stress? Okay, is there any rule to follow to lead us to find the solution? Unfortunately, no. Okay, we have some patterns, some observations that sometimes some words follow this pattern, but not a specific rule that we can follow in a secure way. Okay. Elephant, its first syllable is stress. Eureka. 2-syllable words. The major stress on 2-syllable words is more likely to fall on the first syllable if the word is a noun. Okay. Usually we can observe in the major of the words that if you have a 2-syllable words and this word is a noun, okay, usually you have the major stress on the first syllable. But if you have a verb, usually the stress is on the second syllable. Okay. The major stress on 2-syllable words is more likely to fall on the first syllable if the word is a noun, in the second if the word is a verb. Let's see some examples. We have this first column of words, okay, noun words, and the second one is a column of verbs. Okay, so you can see that if the word's a noun, 2-syllable words here, the stress is on the first. Produce is different of a verb. Produced. It's a way, it's a strategy to make difference between them. Sometimes a noun and a verb. Now, pervert, verb, pervert. Now, record, verb, record. Now, convert, verb, convert. Now, present, verb, present. Now, conflict, verb, conflict. Now, perfect, verb, perfect. Okay, so the patterns are completely different. Now we are going to say something about 3-syllable words. Okay. It's not a question 3 wishes like here, but 3-syllable words. Okay, when we divide a syllable in 3 parts, like vacation, enjoying, traveling. Okay, 3-syllable words. We have here the examples of instrument, the same pattern. When you have noun, the stress is on the first. When you have verb, the stress is on the second. Okay, like instrument as a noun and commercial as a verb. Okay, good. Let's see more examples. Curious as noun, sentiment as noun, document as noun, calendar as noun. As verbs, you have develop, astonish, opponent, vanilla. Okay. Differently of what we saw with the previous list with many 3-syllable words stressed on the first syllable, the final syllable receives minor stress. Okay, like hurricane, hurricane. Okay, appetite, crocodile, perpicune, congregate. Okay. Okay. Sometimes in English we have to consider the formation of words when we study morphology. In the McCarthy Andrew Carton's book from 2002, okay, we can understand better what's a compound. But in a fast way, I'm going to explain. A compound is a strategy of a language to elaborate, to create. Okay, it's a word formation process. For example, you have two different words, two different lexemes, and when you put these lexemes together, you create a new term, a third term. Like, let's see. For example, we have here the example of green as a color and house as a noun, adjective and a noun. Okay, you can see that they are in a separated way. Okay, they are not together. Okay, they are separate. In this case, we have a phrasal word. Okay, an adjective qualifying a noun. Okay, this is literally a greenhouse. But when you put these two words together, you have a third word. Okay, a compound. So greenhouse is not a house with a green color. No, a greenhouse is a place now where you develop or you create this species of plants. Okay, of vegetables as a greenhouse. So in English it's very common, this process. You put two words together like boy and friend, boyfriend. Okay, girl and friend, girlfriend, namorado, namorada. Okay. Hey, which do you prefer? A greenhouse or a greenhouse? Okay, so we have to observe that the stressed syllable is different. When you have a compound, okay, usually the first one is stressed. Okay, when you have a phrasal word, phrasal sentence, the second one is distressed. Okay, so in this case, a place where you create some plants, a greenhouse. Okay, is different of greenhouse. The same pattern is used for blackboard. Okay, if you say blackboard in a syntactic way, you have literally a board that is black. Okay, but if you put these two words together, you have a compound. So in this case, in a general, we have the general idea of board for writing on. Okay, we use in our classrooms. So the stressed is for separated words. The second one is stressed, blackboard. For compounds, the first syllable is stressed, blackboard. Okay. Gold dust. Gold dust. It's is an expression used to very exotic or a very difficult thing to find, like a snake like this. Okay, without its natural color. Okay, without its natural pigmentation. So it's a case of gold dust, pó de ouro. Okay, é muito difícil de achar. Okay, so doorbell. Okay, you press it and the sound is pronounced. Né? Bells. Sorry, bells. Eyelid is this part of the eye. Okay, it's a protection. Suffixes case. Okay, photograph. Okay, let's use the patterns. Okay, photograph, photography, photograph. Okay, here we can observe the use of major and minor stress, okay? And when we have schwa is the unstressed syllables, okay? We can observe it. Sometimes the English language has some influence from Greek and Latin, okay? So we have to consider this. And it's difficult sometimes to follow the English stress because for some cultures the stress is used in a different way, like in Brazilian Portuguese, Portugal, Italy, Greek, Spanish, France too, okay? The stress pattern are different, so sometimes it's complicated to follow a different pattern from English, for example. Okay, let's stop here our class. Okay, and soon we are going to see the sequence of this material. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Bye bye.